Hello there, and welcome to Thank the Maker, a podcast about heroes, princesses, scoundrels, hokey religions, ancient weapons, and all things Star Wars. I'm Adam Russell.
And I'm Nick Gambarian.
And I am Mike Forster. Hey, what a show we have here. This is the most hosts we have ever had right here on one show. Look at us. Had to make a custom overlay for it just for these guys.
We have, it's almost like we're a convention right now.
Nice.
We have the folks from Rebel Scum Con. Welcome, dudes.
Hello there.
Hi. Hey. Thanks for having us.
Let's just go ahead and have you guys introduce yourselves, because like Mike said, we've never had this many guests, so I'm just overwhelmed. So you guys just take it.
And your roar.
Let's get some more guests in here.
Who talks first? You guys talk first? Well, I'm Bobby of Rebel Scum Con, the host of Rebel Scum Con.
I think you're a little bit more than that, right?
Yeah, there's two more. You?
Well, come on. Who are you? What do you do?
This is going.
I just said that. I'm the host.
That's exactly how the panel started with the Mandalorians. I think Tate goes, "Have you done this before?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I definitely have."
I think I said, I don't know. I think I've at least once.
Yeah, at least one other time.
Amazing.
Hi, I'm Kentucky. I do a majority of the booking for the show, and then I'm responsible for the on-site logistics. So when things are wrong, it's my fault.
Nice.
Oh no. Well, I'm Dante. I'm the marketing director for Rebel Scum Con. More specifically, if you're on social media, you've seen some of the things I do. I'm the guy behind the curtain or the phone, I guess in this case. So yeah.
Like I said, I'm the host or the chief content officer. So I just make sure that Rebel Scum Con gets talked about. And here we are.
It's like,
nice
Dante,
job,
Dante,
Bobby.
wait, we need to get that post out there now, please. And then he presses send, and then it's all out. Yeah.
Well, you guys, this is recently, earlier this month was your second Rebel Scum Con. Mm-hmm. You had a great showing. You had some great guests, some great hosts. August 8th through the 10th in the Dallas area. Yeah. I would like to, kind of for us, the most interesting thing is just talking about how some individuals go about starting a con from scratch. I think for the normies, most folks think Comic-Con is a singular thing. San Diego Comic-Con is like the only Comic-Con, the only pop culture con that's kind of out there. A 10-second Google search will tell you that obviously that's not the case, but
right,
it's not like it was always the way it is now, where there are just a trillion cons. There were the days decades ago when people just had to start these things from scratch, and it would be a bunch of Trekkies in one meeting room in a hotel. How long have you guys been going to cons? When did you start thinking maybe we could do this on our own? I guess maybe talk about some of your early con experiences and what you experienced there, what you felt like you were missing that you could bring to it by starting your own. However you want to start this conversation, because I'm very interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, same.
Well, part of that goes back to one of our other partners, Josh, who had previous con running experience with his father through Epic Comic-Con that they ran for a few years in Florida in the 2000s, the early to mid 2000s. Fast forward a few years, they were in North Texas, not doing conventions, but doing other small business stuff. That's where I came onto the scene. I came on through Order 66 Toys, which, long story short, led to rebelscum.com. And one of the earlier conversations with Philip Wise, who started rebelscum.com and passed the torch to myself and Josh, so to speak, one of the first things we talked about was, why isn't there some kind of, quote, Rebel Scum Con, so to speak? And he basically, the ultimate thing was time. And he was also busy with his ventures through Official Picks. And he also started Dallas Fan Expo, for those of you who might be familiar with that large Comic-Con type show. Now, Dallas Fan Expo is owned by Fan HQ, who has a number of large fan expos around the country, and MegaCon in Florida. But that was kind of the real answer as to why he didn't. Was honestly, he was just busy. So when we were taking over rebelscum.com, we were like, well, we would love to do some kind of convention in the future. And then that's kind of where Tucky came involved not long from there, because it was around that time when we were continuing the legacy of rebelscum.com that Kentucky started coming around Order 66 Toys. And back then, he was very heavy into his touring days in the music industry. And I'll let you take the torch from there, Tucky.
I was at the time I moved to Dallas, it was like right after it was during COVID I moved to Dallas. So I was kind of here getting settled. I found their Order 66 toy store. So, and that's it was during COVID I got into collecting Star Wars again, because I wasn't really collecting much of anything while touring, but other, like watching things on Netflix and whatnot. And COVID gave me the opportunity to get back into paying attention to collecting again, because I collected Star Wars stuff as a kid. I had been to Galaxy's Edge like when it opened, and I looked at a $200 lightsaber as something that was like way too much money, and I couldn't even fathom. And then being bored and sitting at home by myself during COVID, I started seeing these lightsabers pop up, and these people that were like shoppers at Disney that they were selling them, to people not at Galaxy's Edge. So I started collecting the sabers, and that got me into the Black Series helmets, and then that got me into the Black Series figures to go with the helmets and the sabers. And it kind of introduced me into hardcore Star Wars collecting. During that time, I moved to Dallas, and then I found an all Star Wars toy store, which I didn't know existed anywhere. Living in New Jersey, New York City, there was no options like that. There was comic book stores, but that's it. So I found these guys, and then I just started going there all the time, and then we became friends, and then touring started kicking off again. So I'd come by, I'd buy a bunch of toys, and then I'd disappear for 5-6 weeks, and then I'd come back and with like stories of what happened in the last 6 weeks, and buy some more toys, and then we started getting closer and closer as friends, and not just me a customer. And they started talking about Celebration Anaheim coming up, and I was like, well, I've kind of heard of Celebration. I've been to conventions before, but mainly like New York or Philly. I was at SDCC one year because a buddy of mine was a security guard for somebody, and we ended up. It was because Guar was playing an after party. That's why we ended up there, and I kind of knew of Celebration, but didn't know enough about it. And now I'm getting heavily into Star Wars stuff, and I know they're going. So I go, can I come? They're like, yeah, I guess. I'm like, I don't want anything. I'm like, I will take care of my own flight. I'll take care of my own hotel. I'm like, just get me a vendor badge, because from what I hear, it's hard to get into. And of course, it was sold out already. And I went there and just had so much fun. I helped them at their booth. It was a blast. And it wasn't long after we got back that the guys mentioned, Josh and Bobby sat me down. They're like, well, we're thinking about doing this thing. We're thinking about doing a convention, and kind of, base it off of the website that we own now, that we purchased from Philip. Would you want to be an investor? They're like, we're not looking to find like a corporation or a bunch of rich people. Like, we're looking for people that are like us, that we can all pull some money together, and it could be something really special for us, instead of finding a rich guy and making him richer. And that was the goal. And when they told me about that, and I said, no, I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want to be an investor. Like, I want to be a part of it. And they were like, oh, okay. I'm like, I have my logistic background for 20 plus years touring. I can use that on knowing how to put a show together to be able to put a con together. Let's all work together and do it. And that was when the idea was born. And well, actually, that the the birth of the idea became to actually something that was going to happen. And I think that was right around the same time we kind of started kicking around the name. And I don't want to take credit if I'm misremembering, but like they were kind of being modest about using the Rebel Scum name at first. And I don't know what you're even saying, like coming up with ideas for. There's only one name you can use. You guys own rebelscum.com. This has to be Rebel Scum Con. And it was, that was that. Like, we have the name, we have the idea, we have like the three heads that we're going to put together to kind of make this happen.
The name is always everything, because I feel. Sorry, had to mute for a second. The name, I think, Mike, we were talking about the idea of Mosh Isley before, just the idea of maybe we could have a party, and I'm 99% sure you said Mosh Isley. I'm like, well, now we have to do it. The name is everything,
Yeah.
And it got wildly out of hand from there.
Especially with an established website. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty much a no-brainer at that point.
Well, the other reason we wanted to go with Rebel Scum and we wanted to build off of the name brand, when we really decided to really stick with that, because part of the reason we were also workshopping other names was because bringing in another partner, we were like, hey, with this being ours, are you cool with sharing that name? And of course, Tucky ended up being really cool with it. And it's honestly the best name we could have come up with, because some of the other names I don't really remember.
I don't remember any of them, but there was 2 or 3 names that got brought up, and I go, "What are you even doing? What are we doing here?" There's an elephant in the room, and it's right there, and it's the name, and we're ready to go already. This meeting's done. Next.
And then with my background, I came through the media side. I had been hosting our live content and review content for Order 66 Toys for 3 or 4 years at that point. And we had been doing our live show, which is what got us scouted in the first place, I think, by Philip, and just being present in the community, trying to be just a positive outlet, just trying to have some fun, aside from making sure that fans of all ages everywhere they can are getting as good as a deal as possible on collectibles that they're missing in their collections. We had also been attending several cons, almost once a month at that point, aside from the the COVID era where we couldn't go to cons for a little while. Josh and I had been attending lots and lots of conventions. My first big convention was BotCon 2010 in Orlando, Florida, and that was an all Transformers themed convention. So I would say that's probably where the idea of like wanting to do a niche, or like the earlier seeds of wanting to do a niche convention probably were planted, even though I didn't know it yet. Because when I started to get into Star Wars fan content, I never would have dreamed that this is where it would have led me. I mean, when I started this, I wanted to get into voice acting and hoped that what I had started doing would lead to that. And it has, in a sense. I've gotten to work with some really cool people. I work with Adventurous Ideas through Jerry Cornell and C. Andrew Nelson, who is a prolific Star Wars actor. And that's been a lot of fun. But yeah, conventions, running a convention is definitely not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. And it's definitely not as simple as, hey, we should do a convention. What theme should it be? Okay, here's the guests that are coming. They're all coming. It's going to be great. And people will show up and buy tickets for it. There is so much work that goes into all facets of it. And it's a lot of sleepless nights before and after and during. And but it's so much fun. And the most gratifying part for me was just seeing all those smiling faces walking by.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it was, I think this year, like, especially because, last year we this is our second year. The first year, was proof of concept that, people would come, but it was, we didn't really spend a lot of money in marketing because we didn't have a lot of money. We kind of just, we put everything we could into it. And at the same, we didn't have many sponsors, because you're brand new. Why am I gonna give you money? We don't even know if people are gonna come. So what's the point of what's my money gonna get me, or what's my return? And we didn't have a huge turnout year one, so we're like, well, we booked a lot of guests. We have 42 guests. There should definitely be people here, and there's a lot more steps other than just book. If you book them, they will come. And
a good segue for me.
yeah. That guy, I had to get my fingers going right. That guy definitely has a big part of of the show being as well as it did this year. But it was
Making sure
Friday,
everything
like
is
seeing the
clean.
line of people waiting to come in, and then like me and Bobby and Josh kind of like looking at each other like, yeah, we did it. Like it's
working.
we did it.
It's
Right.
working.
Like we did it last year, like it happened, like nothing lit on fire. But I'm like, but no, the people are coming this year.
Yeah.
Like there's
Busting
a
from the
return.
seams at certain points, right?
Yeah,
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
Dante, tell us about your entry point to
Oh yeah.
and what your role is more specifically.
Yeah. It's interesting because I wasn't there from the start. I knew Bobby and Josh from the Order 66 Toys, just as a customer, and then I'd come in and just kind of just linger and be kind of like a regular because I like Star Wars, right? Very natural. Hey, Star Wars friends, right? But then, like for me, I've been doing marketing for almost a decade now. So I've been working on accounts like CVS Pharmacy, Charles Schwab, Nature's Own Bread. So like a lot of big stuff, but I've always like wanted to work on like something much smaller that's like more in my not even wheelhouse, because everything's in my wheelhouse when it comes to marketing, but like something that I really enjoy, something I really love. And
passion.
never in my wildest dreams I think that I could put marketing at Star Wars in one thing together. So I was like, when I was approached, like it was like months before the con was about to start, I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I was like, you guys are doing what? Like, because I heard you guys like talking about it, but I didn't.
It
think
was very
legit.
late in the game that we found a
Yeah.
marketing director. Very late in the game.
We had tried to work with a few other marketing directors, other guys who were close friends of ours who said they wanted to do it, and then just fell off for
I
whatever
don't blame. It's
reason.
a
Life
lot
got
of
them.
work, but it's a
It
big
is.
it's a big undertaking. But again, it's just one of the things. Like you really got to find the right person who really loves both sides of it. Because some people are in market. I've worked with a lot of people in marketing that hate what they do, but they're really good at it. But with me, I mean, with the marketing side, it's literally all been social media. So I've seen this like evolve like a million different times. TikTok or Musically becoming TikTok even becoming like monetized, to be able to monetize off of it from the advertising side or even the organic side. Twitter being called Twitter, right? Things of that sort. And I guess Facebook and Instagram being called Meta now, right? So yeah, I joined a little bit late in the game, but I was very shocked when I knew, because I've been going to cons like forever, because I lived in Virginia Beach, Virginia for like unfortunately super is longer than I wanted to. Then when I graduated, I moved, and there wasn't a lot of cons in that area per se, but I think there was like one in Richmond I went up to in like 15, and then 17 was where I really like fell in love with it, because I went to the Orlando celebration, and I was like, oh yeah, this is peak. And I still will say, I mean, I haven't been to anyone before it, but I've been to almost, well, okay, maybe not Anaheim, but the other ones after it, up until that last one in Anaheim. And I was like, yeah, this is peak. It's like all Star Wars all the time. I wish I can be involved some way, somehow. And I've always tried to find a way. And then this opportunity was brought to me, and I was like, whoa, this is literally it. And I get to start from the ground floor, because, I know working with some of the bigger companies, there's a lot of roles. There's a lot of like, hey, like you stay in your lane and you do this. Like, we don't want to hear your ideas. These people got it, even though they might be a little out of touch, things of that sort. So it's excited, it's finally a spot where the voice can be heard, and we can try things, and sometimes it might work, sometimes it might, a mix of everything kind of thing.
And that's how it is when you're starting from scratch, like your guys literally have to come up with the ideas and figure out if they work and try them, like it's really hard. The audience is out there, but I mean, marketing is extremely difficult, even if you know what you're doing, because everything on social media is like the powers that be like have a faucet, and they're like, how much do we want this profile to get out there before we have to make them pay, you know? And then even when they pay, we're only going to turn it a couple more notches to let a couple more people know. So it's like this unwinnable game, which is frustrating because obviously conventions do well. Star Wars does well. Your Star Wars convention should do well, but marketing is in the social media age, unwinnable game.
Yeah, it's wild. Mike and I, before Mike even officially joined the podcast, we've, Mike being a creative director, a graphic designer, we realized pretty quickly the better something is designed, the more the algorithm assumes it's advertising, and you're screwed. So then when you go to actually advertise and you're making an actual poster, and we were seeing these things with Mosh Isley, which is why we have to spend money on ads.
Yeah.
It just becomes the way the game works. And like Nick said, it's a moving target. How the algorithm treats things, how much they expect you to spend, what they're prioritizing because of, in the case of Instagram, what the latest thing is that they're copying, that could flip next week. It's wild stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't always like that, especially when I first started. But yeah, it's became very, because I originally started in organic social, just what everyone kind of does, posting and things of that sort. And I soon realized, I was like, yeah, it's all pay to win now, unfortunately. So I have to learn the other side. So kind of learn the hybrid, and that's really where a lot of the stuff shined here when it came to that, because I like Star Wars too, and I know what people like to see, and I know what an ad needs to look like. Basically, not an ad. So yeah, it's all fun stuff for me. This is the stuff that keeps me up at night. So in a good way.
Well, the question I want to ask, because I think for a lot of people who live in smaller areas, right, smaller regions, I'm in Upper Michigan, and there's always like the talk of people being like, "Oh, well, they should bring a Comic-Con," and I'm like, "Who is they?" I think it's you, right? And so I think from Adam's point at the top, it was like, that idea of saying, what does it take to throw an event? I think for anybody who has done, Mosh Isley for us is basically 8 people at this point all day, with hours and hours and hours just doing one event, maybe 2-3 times a year.
One night.
One night. Yeah, exactly. Show time to close, and then, stay there till 3 a.m. packing up. But the question I want to ask you guys is, like, from your standpoint, you've been to a lot of different conventions. I think at some point, we are peak, what I would consider to be almost like optionized. Like, you have literally we have as you were saying, focused or niche Comic Cons, and that kind of goes everywhere at this point. There are certain people who travel to Gen Con in Indianapolis, which doesn't change, and that's all games. Only games, only gaming. And then we have, KatsuCon, or we have all these other ones, these, MangaCon, and all these other things that, they're focused with their niche. And Star Wars is one of those things where, I think the appetite is still there, but a lot of the people that you guys brought have gotten very used to being up close and personal with fans, because it's very easy for people to not know who Dr. Pershing is, of this one episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian, or season 1 of The Mandalorian. Right. But in the Star Wars world, what is his name again? We hung out with him. Omid, that's right. Yep. Omid. We hung out with him in New York, and he's awesome. He's very, very smart dude, like really excited about his opportunities. And and then you watch Katie O'Brien's career go off. And so, like, you have this balance between being like, who are we? We're bringing people together to a point where they're going, okay, you don't have to wade through parking and lines and all of these things of New York City Comic-Con, when we're giving people a smaller, more accessible version of a Star Wars-ified event.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit of the thought process of when you're saying, Why is it just Star Wars? And how do you see this event being just Star Wars, being different from other specific, niche cons that you've attended maybe or have heard about?
Well, there's not a lot of only Star Wars events out there. I mean, besides the big one that
Not in the
everyone
United
knows.
States.
Yeah, not in the United
I heard,
States.
I heard Europe is
Germany.
swimming with
Germany
them.
has
Yeah.
one, the Power of the Force. There's a number of them in the UK. Mexico has one, and I heard of one in like Inland Empire, but it's a much smaller show. And we decided, that was something that was absent here. I mean, it's a big country. Dallas is in the center of it. We're 3 hours or less from anywhere in the U.S. on a plane.
And a major international hub.
Yeah, big ass airport.
And the thing with Celebration is it's not always in the U.S. It's every other year, and people want, if that, and people want to celebrate Star Wars every year. They don't take a year off. Like content coming out for Star Wars doesn't take a year off. Nothing takes a year off other than the convention. So we wanted to be not necessarily on alternative. I mean, it's like Celebration is always going to be. People are always going to go to Celebration, but there's going to be there's room there. There's room for another show that we can do every single year. That we can bring the same kind of vibe of community that Celebration had when it started to Dallas every year, and that people can come, and what we're going to do is keep it do our best to keep it as affordable as possible, so that it's something that you can still do Celebration in 27 and Rebel Scum Con, because there's we're going to have something different than what's going to be happening in LA. That's going to be magical, because it's it's LA. It's going to be right by the George's Museum. It's going to be 50 years, but we're also going to be able to be able to not break your bank and be able to come and do something fun. And we want to do that every year for everyone.
Sorry to cut anyone off here, but sort of another way to ask what Mike is asking, and what you guys are touching on here, is Mike and I specifically aren't. I think out of all of our kind of Venn diagram of friend groups, we're the least con-going people of the group. We're we weren't Disney kids, but we are like diehard Disney park goers now because of Galaxy's Edge. But it's
Sure.
just straight up Galaxy's Edge. Like, yeah, if you see Magic Kingdom on the way through, cool. But I'm going to bed too. That's us.
Yeah.
And we feel like there are probably a lot of people out there that are the same, that love to go to Comic-Con or New York, San Diego Comic-Con, New York, MegaCon, all these different ones for the Star Wars content, and the other stuff is kind of just like, it's
cool
like,
too.
Yeah, it's like the services that you can get along with your cell phone plan. Like, that's cool. Maybe I'll use that. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not really worth the extra that you're spending. It's not worth the extra hassle. So to me, I was going to ask about that kind of vacuum that we have here in the U.S., where there isn't a dedicated Star Wars con other than Celebration, and then Kentucky, like to your point, it's not often enough to really satiate the appetites of the fan base.
Yeah.
So you guys create this thing, and you have things that you would expect from a con. You've got some big guests, you've got great panels. Just a recap of what you had this year. Some highlights: a Bad Batch reunion with a bunch of cast members. Katie Sackhoff doing the Sackhoff Show live with Emily Swallow as her guest. Skywalker Sound panel with David W. Collins and Matthew Wood. And Across the Mandoverse panel, the Force Unleashed reunion with Sam Witwer and David W. Collins. A soundtrack show live recording. Chris Bartlett with a cosplay to screen panel, talking about being a cosplayer, ending up on the show. Some hosts that are some big names from the community are our buddy Gabe Estrada, DJ Elliott, Carly King, and a bunch of other folks.
Yeah.
That's pretty traditional, like kind of panel programming.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about panels, I get anxiety thinking about these massive cons, including Celebration, where just getting into the panel either is a lottery system, so you just don't get your hopes up, or you stand in line forever and waste your time. And I've been wanting more activity type things. I think about the maker community, you know, in all different ways, whether, you know, from costumes to dioramas to makeup to, you know, whatever. And other things that people can do on a community level. What do you guys bring on that level? What do you think differentiates your con from others aside from giving Star Wars fans a focused Star Wars con?
I'm so glad you asked. And that actually goes partially with our secondary panel room that we had this year and last year, panel room B, where we had more local, or I guess smaller groups, community groups leading panels and content. Like year one, we had a lot of the costume clubs such as 501st, Mando Mercs, etc., doing workshops on how to build costumes or how to join the clubs or what it's like to be a part of the clubs. Some of the groups and podcasts, even Skywalking Through Neverland, they hosted one of their trivia contests in one of our panel rooms as a side activity. We had a number of swag trades during the event. We had at least two main ones, one happening during the day on Saturday, just in the middle of the con, and it was crazy because as we were trying to get through the community table section, everybody was just ravenously going through their binders, pulling out coins, pulling out patches. Hey, I want that one. Nope, he said he was trading that one to me. And then we had another one later that night hosted by another community group. So we actually had multiple swag trades hosted by multiple community groups, not just one or two in particular. So we had Tennessee Collectors Club for one of them. We had Line Force Fan Club for another one that hosted them on Saturday in particular. And then Star Wars Joshua was hosting a pin hunt and trade that went all weekend long. Some of these crazy fans even completed their full Trooper pin set
on Friday.
On day one of Rebel Scum.
Yeah, on Friday. Yeah.
And then we had other community groups actually come in and join us both on. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I just got off like an hour and a half like debriefing with Star Wars Joshua about about year one, and already like he's spitting ideas at us for year two. I'm like, hey, what about these? He's like,
year three.
He's like, year three rather. Yeah. It was gonna be. It was year two of him being at the show. Yeah, right. But yeah. But go ahead. Yeah, you had more. You had more to touch on.
Yes, and then we had other community groups, such as Sabak for Charity. In case you guys haven't heard from them, they teach and host Sabak tournaments at shows like MegaCon and other conventions in the Florida area. But they make a special trip to Rebel ScumCon each year now to set up and host free play Sabak all weekend long. And it's a full immersive experience as well. It's not just, hey, here's a round table, sit down, here's some Sabak cards that we picked up at Galaxy's Edge or whatever. Or we ordered on Amazon. They're all in full costume. It's a full immersive experience. They build it out. It's like a little mini pocket Galaxy's Edge kind of area.
It's like a little cantina. Yeah.
Yep. And different days they're going to be in different costumes as well. It's not even the same costumes every day. And then throughout the weekend they're going to be teaching people how to play Sabak and then promoting the charity tournament they host, which at that point they're going to be raising money for the charity that we've partnered with for that particular year, which the past 2 years we partnered with Ronald McDonald House of Dallas and had them come out as well. And they had a lot of fun, and a lot of people played Sabak and learned Sabak. And a lot more this year than last year too. Jonathan was really happy about that.
The gaming aspect in general, like we had another gaming lounge that was on the other side of the on the hotel side that we were playing. We had a bunch of Star Wars Unlimited stuff going on because that TCG has taken off a lot. It's finally a Star Wars a Star Wars card game that's done well, because so many of them have just come out kind of like tried for a little bit and then kind of just failed and just went away. And you know, this one's done well, and we had a few tournaments going on there, as well as Dice Throne and a bunch that was hosted by Madness Comics. And it was and that's just talking about like the the during the con hour stuff on basically Friday, you're only even touching, we're able to partner up with Spencer with the VCN boys and host an after party, and not even like a party because it was a whole nother event. Was the Boonta Eve special edition?
It's like a mini
what-
con
Yeah, like because
with live
he had
karaoke.
12 guests of his own there, plus live band karaoke. It was a blast.
Yeah, I mean that it's a so I guess TLDR for all of that. Like we being because a lot of with these big kinds in general, not even calling one out, but a lot of them generally aren't fans of the product, or if they are, it's very on a top level. It's more about the money itself. Because of the slew of people we do have, and it's all came from the love of Star Wars. There's like even for all of us, there's different parts of the fandom that we love, right? So just reaching out to those community leaders was a huge thing. Um, After last year ended, my biggest thing was, hey, these cons are built on community. And the biggest thing that I wanted to do that I could do within my wheelhouse is reach out to different influencers that also love Star Wars in a similar way that we do. I think that's important because even within those I don't even like calling them influencers, those content creators in general, they have their own little communities at that point, or even very big communities, right? That they bring. So it was like fun, like Will. Like I didn't even think Will of the Force. I didn't even think it'd be a possibility to work with him. Someone I've just admired for a while, just his content. And he has very similar kind of like I don't have to worry about him essentially when it comes to marketing. It's like I know his quality is very good. I know he knows what he's talking about Star Wars. This is like a perfect fit kind of thing. And being able to see his panel, lead a panel, not even just like be on a panel, but like lead the panel, the Force Unleashed panel. That was fun to see, and I know his community really enjoyed that too, and also apparently the internet too with his Sam Witwer headshot clip and things of that sort. But
eBay's a magical place.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've always said this year, like, and also part of that, like, we want to hear from the voices of the community. That was the biggest thing that I really wanted to do, and obviously they want to do too, but like on two different parts, right? As we can see.
We also wanted to present
Right.
the outer communities around us too, not
Right.
not just host a space and allow them to take up space within it.
Mhm.
We wanted them to be a part of the event too.
Right.
We
Yeah,
Elevate
wanted
them.
the
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
the fun, part of the excitement for Rebel Scum Con to be, hey, think of it like all of your best friends coming together at the playground,
Yeah.
and you're all bringing your favorite characters together. That's kind of how we wanted it to be, just like
Yeah.
a cool,
Yeah,
big, fun meetup where the more
Yeah,
the
it wasn't just
merrier. But it's
inviting
not
and
just
giving you
about
a
us,
badge.
it's about collectively us doing this together, if that makes sense.
For sure. With the irony is that I think, back to the normies perception of what a con is. I think most average people that, were watching a sitcom, I think of like Modern Family, like like the whatever the fictional fantasy universe was that Phil Dunphy went to the con for, right? People think of it as just like a gathering of nerds that are like trooping around in their costumes, playing fake card games and dice games, doing spells and shit. But the reality is most cons are giant retail spaces and panels.
Yeah.
And then parties, and like
Well,
there's some fun stuff, but like the things that it seems like the things that people prioritize are getting into panels, and then what are they going to spend their money on? And like
Sure.
that misses.
But I think that's only one aspect though. But I think there's certain people that have to get into panels, and that's their goal is to see that interview, to see that interaction of those group of actors together. But there's also the people that are literally just there to get their solo interaction, with a a talent,
Right,
with an actor. And there's also the people that are literally only there to troop and costume, and meet their friends, and they could care less about the guest list, and they could care less about the panels. They don't even make it to either one of those, and they only want to go and see their friends and wear their wear the costume that they built this year, versus the one that they wore last year, and they just want to interact with their group, and they're going to have their group inside of inside the convention center, and that's all they're there for. There's just so many different aspects of things that make up a con, and they kind of just I think all of those different groups together make fun conventions.
Yeah.
Which is why we try to emphasize all of that too, because
Right. Yeah.
it isn't just about the panels or charging people admission at the door for us at the end of the day. Because if it was, then we would probably streamline it a lot more, like some of these other corporate shows, and charge differently for our tickets. And you didn't have as much fun. Well, that sucks. We already got your money. See you next year. For us, it's all of these voices coming together, all of these experiences coming together that make up Rebel ScumCon. Not just scheduling the panels, not just having a guest for you to come meet and get an autograph from or two.
Right.
It's having those guests, having those regular con staples, having a vendor room, but also making sure that the attendees, the guests, and us ourselves are also engaged with what's going on. And if there's an idea of, hey, what if we do this could be a fun activity for the convention, then we want to do it, especially if it's something that one of these other communities specializes in. Then we really want to do it, because that's going to not only enhance the attendees or everybody else's experience, but it's going to enhance our own experiences as promoters as well. It keeps the convention interesting, because when I think of just running a convention for the sake of just making money, that just sounds boring.
Yeah.
That's not the reason I set out to do this.
I tell you what, if running a convention just to make money is your goal, don't follow our formula. Don't follow our formula. I mean, from year one having 42 guests and this year having 32. I mean, if you're looking for the formula to make money, that's not it. With the amount of money we spend in like per diem and meals and flights and hotel rooms just for the guests alone, we're not looking to kind of capitalize off this. We're looking to capitalize on smiles versus dollars, because if it was, like, we would do things differently.
That's what's beautiful to me. And like just to clarify, what I was getting at is that you guys are clearly doing something that isn't as common as it should be these days, because still, when I think about what a con should be, it is the community aspect, meeting up with friends. But it seems like even in some of the better cons, those meetups and that space is made by the attendees, the fans, rather than the con facilitating it and helping enrich that experience. So shout out to you guys for putting that at the front of your approach to this whole thing.
Well, I want to.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I have a kind of an interesting follow up. Because I want to talk about sustainability, because this is a big thing, right? Because I think every business, you can kind of see how San Diego Comic-Con has turned into what it is, because Comic-Con has been around for 50 years, right? It started off as this is the easiest way to get all these people who collect comic books to come together so that they can swap, they can, and then it eventually, I would say probably in the late 90s, started really becoming more pop culture. Then the costuming became popular, and then now it's just a straight up media event, right? And the brilliance of course these things is that they do invite people, all different kinds of people. You have artists, you have special guests, you have behind the scenes people. But when it comes to logistics and sustainability, there always is that balance between going, well, if we can make it bigger, then it's going to have to cost more money. And I think when you're transparent enough about it, people understand why. But certainly at the other point, you can see where you also don't want to burn yourself out, because after year 5 of going, wow, bigger and better every time, these things take more and more out of you. And so I think from an interesting point of, especially how we've run Mos Eisley, at the beginning, we're like, we have to keep it as affordable as possible. And we still really, really, really maintain that. But then the other issue is like, well, we need to pay our photographers. We need to pay our videographers. They're going to come here and spend 8 hours with us all day. Like we have to support the people who are in turn supporting us. So
Yes.
how do you guys see growth as not only an exciting opportunity, but also from a sustainability standpoint of saying, buildings are going to continue to cost money, probably cost more money as things go on, as your profile grows.
Yes.
It's like the wedding effect, right? Like you want to rent a barn to hang out in, $20. Oh, it's for a wedding. That'll be $6,000. Thank you very much. So like these ideas of trying to support yourselves so that the show can go on because volunteer hours only go so far, and then eventually you get to a point where you're like, how do we keep the excitement of doing this? Is it always bigger? Is it always better? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that, because I think a lot of people felt like you had a great product, and so where does it go from here?
I mean, just to touch on like my little corner of the world is the booking side. It's keeping it fresh there. It's I basically, and it's kind of I look for my partners to help out on the other aspects of say like after hours stuff, things going on inside the show. But on the booking side alone, I try to look at it like, what would be the coolest panel? Okay, those are the four. If I'm able to get one person, say from one piece of content, like we obtained a contract with Katie Sackhoff. It's like, okay, well if we have Katie, we definitely want Simon. Okay, well if we have Katie, we definitely want Emily. Okay, now if we have Emily, we want Tate. We want to have. I mean, because that's going to make an awesome photo op. If you've never, I mean, I don't know if they've had all four of them together in one op before. If they have, cool. If not, maybe not here in Dallas. That's going to make a great panel to be able to talk about, not just the Mandalorian TV show, but for Mandalorians, talking about how it is to suit up their armor, their helmet fans, just the different things that they went through just themselves playing those characters in that show. It's the same thing we did with like the Bad Batch, the of getting a few people from Return of the Jedi that were only included with Jabba. I tried to add even more pilots this year. We just couldn't get them all. I kind of somewhat treat it like Pokemon. Like I'm trying to collect everybody in like a genre in a section. Having Matt Wood and Sam, having like two of the villains from the Clone Wars, and we tried really hard to get Nika Futterman, so like because we want Ventress too, we want to have all of them. And Sam helped out with the other aspect there with David W. Collins, who had never sat down at a table and done a signing before. He had been to celebrations, he had done podcasts, he had hosted panels, he'd been on panels, but they had never been like a Star Wars Force Unleashed panel because they had never appeared together as guests. And Sam was like, hey, you should contact these guys. It would be cool to do a Force Unleashed reunion. and then he contacted our buddy Chris Wyman, who is our Everest, the mail-in partner, and he was like, hey, I heard about this show, and he's like, oh, you should definitely come. He's like, yeah, Sam told me, and he's like, Matt kind of gave me like an elbow too that I should do it, and it kind of just steamrolled into that. And to touch back in on how we keep it fresh is, I'm going to continue to do that on the booking side, and obviously the word of mouth is spreading throughout the actors in the community, because they're more and more willing to take on this show that they've never heard of, and now they don't have that option anymore of not hearing of us.
Yeah, it's inevitable at this point. Yeah. If you're in the
The
community.
Katie Sackhoff thing was, I think, a very big thing to talk about, was the fact that, when somebody has so many things working against them to make an appearance somewhere, like shoots, changing schedules, picking up work in general, because she didn't have the Carrie gig when she first booked with us. And then it was like, because she was originally going to be doing the podcast on Friday night and then have 2 full days of signing. And then that turned into, hey, she's filming on Friday, so for this new show she's doing, so we'll just have to cancel the podcast. And we're like, I don't want to cancel it. Like, I mean, that was part of the most fun part of having her out, was she wants to do the podcast of the show. Can we move it? Cool. Okay, let's reschedule it. perfect. And then, okay, hey, we're doing night shoots on Friday, so like we're gonna get there really late on Saturday. Okay, cool. Let's roll with the punches. Let's make this happen. And so many times people would never even hear about that because it was the cancellation.
Right.
Like
Right.
she bent over backwards and did everything in her power to do the show, and never once said, "Hey, you know what? I think not being there would be easiest. So let's but we can do it next year." And that was never a thought in her mind because she really really wanted to do the show and did everything in her power to be there. And I think I don't know. I think it just kind of showed about the like the word of mouth and what was going on already with the show, that people were doing everything they could to be there. And yeah.
And I think that's also
awesome.
because with a lot of, especially on year one, where when we got a few no's or not right nows, we just okay, well
Yeah.
maybe next time, and we didn't stamp our feet or
No.
get upset and go, oh well, we'll never have you back then,
No, we're the
because
new kids on the block. We got to prove ourselves. We get it.
that would be silly. And so to anybody who wasn't able to make it out on year one or year two, we were like, maybe catch us on the next one. We would love to spend that time with you next time. And we really mean that. And that's one of the things I think that, or one of the attitudes that we all collectively have to reinforce growth in the future as well, because we don't want to turn fans away, especially fans that are looking to maybe find that other community or meet those Star Wars fans that they've been seeing online, whether they're one of the other content creators who are looking to attend, or a vendor or a featured artist, or one of the other clubs, that they're excited to meet. We don't want to limit the ability for fans to come out and engage with each other or with us. Talking about space, planning for the future, one of the reasons why we want to stick with Dallas is because Dallas has a lot of scalability for us, from small little weekend type event centers to Kay Bailey in downtown Dallas, which is the biggest convention center in the Dallas area, and not even Fan Expo fills that one out.
Right. Yeah. They only take a third of
not
it,
even
if not
they
half.
use all of that space.
Yeah.
Do you find that? Do you know if, or do you know what portion of your ticket buyers are local, at least to Texas, let alone Dallas?
Oh, we don't have the exact percentage, but it's it's a lot. It's a good majority. But also on top of that, because that was a lot of the thing that I focused on for marketing was like low hanging fruit is what we would call it. Obviously the people that could drive in, lowest barrier to entry essentially. But I was so surprised to because DJ Elliott was emceeing in between our panels, and when people say, he would say, "How many people are here from out of town?" And we hear this huge roar, and I was like, "What? Really?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Man, that goes part of talking to these different voices of the community and things of that sort." And we learn everything every year for growth wise. I think this past year was a lot of growing on what we did last year, but adding a lot to the talent. That was a big thing year over year, but also kind of shoring up a lot of things we did do well, which was like the panels. We even really went all out on kind of community, especially with the community tables, things of that sort. Marketing, having a very healthy budget for that too, but now it's maybe changing gears of where we're marketing a little bit more, who we're talking to. So all of that changes as we keep getting something more under our belt, like another year under our belt. Okay, cool, we learned from that. Cool, now we go to the next level. That's the great thing we've seen the past 2 years. We've done a lot of things really well. It's just one or two things to tweak. Okay, great. And then now it's one or two things to tweak, and then we get to the next level. But for growth wise, because you guys are right, a lot of these cons are really, I'd say, commercialized, I guess you could say. It's really an event for all of these different businesses to kind of just showcase what they have going on, or to reveal that next movie that's coming out, or series, which is great and all, but with what we have here, I mean, if we stay true to the roots, where it's more about just the fandom of it in general, maybe not what's coming up and things of that sort. Because I mean, we obviously can't do that. We don't have any scoop or anything like that. So that's the part where we're so unique because we don't have to prioritize those things. Obviously, if we had them, we would prioritize them, but things of that sort. But continue to learn year over year is the biggest thing for growth, and then also staying true to roots in general. Because we clearly have something special here. I mean, we saw from anyone who's in the Star Wars community has seen, Rebel Scum Con and the wild success, and I can't wait for everyone to see what we have cooking up for year 3 too. So
Nice.
Yeah, I've been working already.
You've been working since the tail end, like a few months ago, actually.
I mean,
so
there was
always thinking. Yeah,
we were.
The last thing
I started
to that,
making deals at the show already with some of the agents that were there. They were like, they were like, man, this is good. I need you to bring this person in next year, and so I was like, yeah, let's do it. Oh, cool. I'm in already. Let's do it. I mean, can I even announce them yet? They're like, let's get paperwork first. I'm like, all right, cool. All right.
Well, the other thing also, part of the growth that we've had, or one of the things that we've instilled to foster more growth that we've had, one of our partners, Joshua, also hosts at the end of both years, this year 1 and year 2, what can we do to improve? Give us your feedback, kind of a panel.
Closeout panel.
At the end of Sunday, he'll sit in the panel room B and just take feedback from whoever decides to attend that panel. Sometimes it's other vendors, sometimes it's club members or other community members who brought out some other experience to help enhance the experience of Rebel Scum Con. Sometimes it's lots of attendees, and he just asks honestly, what can we do to make your experience better next time? And then we just take that feedback and use it to make the next experience better. And we definitely took a lot of that feedback to heart on year 1. I mean, a lot of it.
There was a lot. There was a lot of things,
and it was good.
We were learning. We had this idea, and we put it all together in the room, but we're like, we weren't 100% on how to make that big room work. And we kind of did our best at it, but then we definitely found out there was things we weren't doing right.
And we didn't get everything 100% on year 2 either.
No.
And we're by the end of, before even Friday was done, halfway through Friday, we had already collectively come up with some of the solutions for some of the hiccups we had early on year 2. Like, okay, this day we're going to start doing this, and that's going to take care of this other issue that we had this year, and make our attendees experience just a little bit better, a little bit smoother, maybe, as they're checking in and getting things ready on year 3. So,
and just another quick hit is the reason that you guys are so successful with Mosh, and hopefully we can be successful with Rebel Scum Con, is the fact that we're not one person. We're a group of people. So we don't have there's no dictatorship. There's no like monarchy of, hey, this is my idea. This is how it is. This is do it or not. It's there's a group of us together, and we all have our ideas of how we want it to be. We talk it out. We make it work, and we have our own expertise. So we're like able to put together this thing, and it's not one person's idea, and it's like, if I didn't say it, it's wrong, and if once I say it, it's law. And that's I think that's something that's going to help out for years to come, is the fact that there's no one big head that that gets too inflated, and is we all keep each other in check, and we all kind of work together to make this thing what it is.
Well, you guys have made something really special, and we're all excited to see where it goes from here. Promise you won't get so big that it just turns into another retail corporate display.
We won't do it. No.
Well, we're about to hit an hour, so let's wrap up and continue basically right from here. I would love to, since you guys mentioned feedback, I would love to hear from our patrons.
Sure.
Things that they might want to see from a con like this. If we can annoy you guys with okay, so like, what if you did this kind of shit that I'm sure you get from everyone. There we go. Paper and pen ready.
I'm ready to go.
How much would it take to get George Lucas there?
Yeah. So like, why don't you guys should just get George Lucas?
I mean, well, it's. I'd rather start hearing that. I'm tired of hearing Hamill. So cool. Let's let's go right for Lucas.
Right.
All right. Well, dudes, thank you so much for being here. It's an exciting thing you guys have going. Where should people go to find you on social media, on the internet, and so on?
Yeah, it's usually some form of Rebel Scum Con or Rebel Scum Con official. It's what you'll see is the circle with the strike logo going through it and Rebel Scum Con in there. So if you search Rebel Scum Con, it'll come up.
Yeah.
Just say that. But yeah.
So
Yeah,
just like
I-
search the
so-
internet.
Yeah. So X. I mean X, Facebook. Discord. Insta, we're on all of them. There's a cool.
That's what you want to look for.
There's a
Nice.
there's a Facebook fan group that kind of we're in it as well, so it's not necessarily like just fans, but it's very accessible for people to ask questions and get answers quickly instead of calling some number or sending out an email. Like it's real time, so we like to be
Yeah.
accessible.
Some
Nice.
form of Rebel Scum Con or Rebel Scum Con official, but that's it. That's it
Yeah.
out of the two. So yeah, one of
Nice and easy.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Last thing I'll say before we go, merch. I keep mentioning merch. Thankthemakermerch.com. We have a couple Endor designs. We have some older designs that have been refreshed. Check that out. Buy the merch. Wear the merch. Tell people about the podcast. We love you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Patrons, we'll see you in just a moment for the bonus segment. Everyone else, until next time, may the force be with you. Thank the Maker is produced by Adam Russell and Jason Chiodo and edited by Jason Chiodo. If you enjoy the podcast, you can support us by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Or you can support us directly at patreon.com/thankthemakerpod, where you can get access to our Discord server, exclusive content, exclusive merch, and more. Our patrons literally make Thank the Maker possible.